Hey GQ, I'm Emmanuel Acho, and I'm going undercover on the internet. This is actually me. First up, Wikipedia. On January 9th, 2015, Eagles fan Hannah Del Monte contacted Acho via Instagram. Del Monte asked Acho to escort her to her junior prom if she received 2,000 retweets on Twitter. Acho felt 2,000 retweets was too low, because it was, so he increased it to 10,000 retweets and gave Del Monte 1 week to meet the goal. Less than 3 hours later, Del Monte posted a picture showing that she'd received over 10,000 retweets, and Acho accepted the invitation. Junior prom was as awkward as it can be for a 26-year-old man. I think I was 26, I might have been 24. But get this, I didn't have a prom at my high school because I went to an all-boys school growing up, St. Mark's School in Dallas, Texas. We wore uniform, white shirts, gray slacks every day. I'm still scarred by that experience. So junior prom as a 24-year-old NFL linebacker was in fact my first and only prom experience. The tricky part is, what do you talk about with 16 and 17-year-old kids? So I'm sitting there like, how's pre-cal? Algebra still fun? Sine, cosine, tangent? Is that what y'all are talking about these days? It was fun, it was cool. I played the piano at junior prom, and I was still surprised that she got all those retweets, but Hannah Del Monte and I are still friends to this day. Let's move on to Cora. First question, does white privilege really exist in the USA as of 2020? The answer to that question is very simply yes, but hear me when I say this. There are all different types of privilege. White privilege is simply defining this privilege that we're prefacing and talking about as white privilege. White privilege doesn't mean your life hasn't been hard. White privilege simply means your skin color. It hasn't contributed to the difficulty in your life. You can have different types of privilege. You can have CEO privilege. You can have famous person privilege. I was walking to a restaurant the other day in California, and somebody was like, "Hey, Emmanuel, I love what you do. Your meal's on me." That's famous person privilege. You can have hood privilege. The only problem is hood privilege really doesn't help you outside the hood. So does white privilege exist in 2020? It in fact does. Not to say other privileges don't exist, but white privilege, it most definitely exists. Submit. Moving on to Twitter. Why does it have to be uncomfortable? Uncomfortable conversations with the black man. Technically, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. I try to make these conversations as comfortably uncomfortable as they can be. I think it has to be uncomfortable, though, if you will, because people don't like to talk about race. You know, growing up, we talk about religion, we talk about sex, we talk about so many other things, money and finances, but we don't talk about race. And it's either because we're not exposed to people who don't look like us often enough, or we're just scared or timid to say the right thing as opposed to saying the wrong thing incidentally. So the conversations don't necessarily have to be uncomfortable, and I personally try to keep them from being uncomfortable, but uncomfortable conversations with a black man just has a good ring to it, if I'm being honest. Posted. Next question. Not to deviate too far from your point, but what and who defines success? Is it strictly monetary? Do others define one's success? That's a really good question. I think society has defined success for us, and I think success is defined by society to mean different things for different people. Success for a black male is different than success for a white male. Success for a woman is different than success for a man. Success for a white woman is different than success for a black woman. I personally try to define success myself, and I more heavily rely on being significant in this life than being successful. Because if you let someone else define success for you, then you will chase someone else's ambitions instead of chasing your own. Moving on to Instagram. Seriously, it's actually me. And will you ever have Colin Kaepernick on? I would love to have a conversation with Colin Kaepernick, absolutely. I try to make my conversations organic. The first person I had a conversation with, Matthew McConaughey. I got a call on a Saturday morning, 8:35 a.m. I'm sitting downstairs eating some French toast. I love my French toast, I love my quiet time. My phone rings, no caller ID number. I pick it up, because when a no caller ID number calls you, you have to pick it up. If nothing else, out of curiosity. I pick it up. All I hear is Acho, McConaughey here. McConaughey? Like Matthew McConaughey? He proceeds to tell me like, hey, he wants to have a conversation. So I like to have my conversations organically. If I hear from Colin Kaepernick, I would jump at the opportunity to have a genuine conversation and more than anything, continue to give him a platform to share his heart, share his thoughts. Time will tell and we will see. Does he know what questions you're going to ask? In reference to my conversation with Commissioner Goodell. Roger Goodell does not know what questions I'm going to ask. No guest that comes on my show knows what questions I'm going to ask because I don't want to lose the organic nature of the conversations. A conversation isn't truly a conversation if you script the conversation. Then it just becomes a scripted Q&A. And so Roger Goodell nor any of my other guests know what questions I'm going to ask. They know the overarching topic matter. They know the subject matter, but they don't know exactly what's coming because I want to keep it organic for you, the viewer. I like the brooch you wear. Can you share anything about it? Where can I purchase it? Thank you. Sarah Loves, great question. So many guys were wearing lapel pins. You know, the cute little flowers? I realized I don't want to be like everybody else. Emmanuel Acho can't be like everybody else. So I went to the store and I went to the brooch section. I had no idea what a brooch is. I thought only women wear brooches, but apparently men wear brooches too. I found the most masculine brooches I could find, this brooch being a leaf. A leaf isn't necessarily masculine, but I was like, whatever. I think I got it from like Macy's, but you can get a brooch really from wherever. So Sarah Loves 3, step up your brooch game. More Twitter. Hey brother, love your conversation series. Following it daily. Can we get a serious voter registration push in there? Great question. I don't really create the conversations myself. I poll people. I ask people like you, Michael, what do you want me to talk about? So appreciate you saying that and putting that in the deck. Voting is important. Voting has always been important. Black people specifically, we fought, we marched, we protested, we boycotted for the right to vote. So my brothers, my sisters, make sure you go out there and vote. That is my mini push. As I can integrate it into the series, Michael, I will do my best going forward. A lot of things on the docket, a huge year ahead of us as it pertains to the state of our nation. So make sure you go out there and vote. Emmanuel Acho, any plans for public office? No, absolutely not. No, there are no plans for public office. As soon as you get into politics, people may hate you or disdain you for no other reason than you're affiliated with a certain political group. I don't want that. My goal is to be a bridge for love, reconciliation, hope, joy, coming together. So no plans for public office, just plans for more fire Twitter and Instagram content. Hey, Emmanuel Acho. Emmanuel, I support what you're doing and was deeply disturbed by the George Floyd video. But if Kaepernick's issue isn't with the flag, why did he oppose the Nike flag shoe? Help us understand the inconsistencies. Cap is the wrong person to lead this movement. John, what's crazy is I'm not gonna sit here and completely disagree with some of the things you said. Cap didn't necessarily choose to lead this movement. Remember, this movement chose Cap after Cap put his name in the hat. I didn't necessarily choose to be a catalyst for this movement. I just made a video out of the brokenness and despair in my heart that resonated with the world. And at that point in time, I realized, John, I have to step up and be a leader. And I would argue to a degree the same thing happened with Cap. If you'd asked Colin Kaepernick in 2016, hey man, you do realize in 4 years we're still going to be talking about you. This is going to become incredibly divisive. You're going to do X, Y, or Z. I think he'd be like, huh? I'm just trying to throw some touchdown passes and help save lives against police brutality. So I do think that Cap has made some missteps. I don't think that he's the wrong person to lead this movement. And I also wouldn't say that Colin Kaepernick is leading this movement. Colin Kaepernick is one of several people who have voiced an issue with systemic racism, police brutality, systemic injustice. People have made him the leader, but we're all, at least anybody that's running this race, we should be running it together. This is a group fight against evil. This is a collective battle. Colin Kaepernick, he made some missteps. Shouldn't have worn pig socks. That was a misstep. He wore some t-shirts he probably shouldn't have done. Misstep. But don't let one man's errors, few minor missteps, detract from the major issue. Because the issue at hand, we should all be able to agree on. Next up, YouTube. I've got a big question as an extension to McConaughey's question about what is my responsibility, what is your responsibility, and that's where do black people's responsibilities end. I've seen, read, and heard white people having conversations with their black friends or family talking about racism and white people's role in anti-racism, and wonder how that might be affecting a regular black person just trying to live their life, who might not have all the answers to how to fight or end racism, and might not want to have to take on the role of a racism tutor to every white person they meet. The burden of racism takes on enough of a heavy role in every black person's life. At what point can they say this just isn't their responsibility? When I talk about the responsibility, I view it like this. If I can be real, if I can be uncomfortable, white people no longer need black people for the advancement of society. They kind of got all that juice out the squeeze, so to speak, during slavery. Right now, white people still need black people for entertainment, for music, athletics. So if white people are now ready, willing, finally, to have these conversations, to open up for dialogue, then I'm choosing to have that dialogue. It's not a black person's responsibility, but I said this in my very first episode. I said, my white brothers and sisters, consider this a safe space. And sentences later, I said, if the white person is your problem, only the white person can be your solution. And so my goal is to continue to help people help people. Help them help us. That's a figure of speech we use in sports. That's a figure of speech I use for this. So it's not a black person's responsibility. My black brothers and sisters, it's not your responsibility. But I'm choosing to do something because I personally think that it'll work. Next question. Is the book going to encompass only black and white, or will it be multicultural? The book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, it is not just a transcription of previous episodes. It's not just a regurgitation of previous episodes. I dive deeper into layers of conversations that I just don't have time to talk about with my vocal cords. It is multicultural in the sense that more than it is just a race issue, it's a culture issue. I'm first generation American. My parents born and raised in Nigeria. I go back to Nigeria each and every year, each and every summer for a medical mission trip. So while I am black by skin color, I am cultured in a Nigerian fashion. However, I went to an affluent white private school from 5th grade to 12th grade. So I fully understand white culture because I was immersed in that. Then I played football in the University of Texas and then in the National Football League. And I was fully immersed in black culture, so I understand that. My life is multicultural. Uncomfortable Conversations with the Black Man, the book, it's multicultural as well. So what's happening with the YouTube series? Will we get more, or is this over? I learned some valuable lessons from this series. 1, thank you, Steve. 2, the series isn't over. These conversations, I don't know if and when they do stop, but they're not stopping from me anytime soon. I want to continue to dive into and touch on so many other questions and along other topics. A lot of things are uncomfortable. Race, religion, sex, sexual orientation. So many conversations are uncomfortable in our society. My goal stand as a bridge and a gap for all these conversations. Because the conversations, the series, my show is organic, it's not like your standard TV show that's going to come on every week, 7 p.m., and you're all going to be ready for it. I let the conversations come to me, and when there is content and a conversation that is worthy of your time, you, the viewer's time, that is when I try to deliver it. So, great question, Steve. That's it. Thanks for hanging with me, Emmanuel Acho. I'm signing off the internet now.